The Jenn before the car accident was a people pleaser, whatever I could do so that somebody else thought I was good, and I got all of my self-worth from other people's compliments. And when I was in that car accident, I realized I check out by myself. And it was this big wake-up call of like, I don't think I'm here just to serve everybody else's mission. I'm here to also serve mine.
How do you go from like, okay, I'm almost dying, to like, let me do one of the hardest things on this planet to do?
I started to get curious about what I liked. You just start doing these activities, and I really like the concept of climbing a mountain because I love the feeling of starting at the base, getting to the top, coming back down, and just having all that time to work through thoughts and to be off the grid. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to climb a mountain for my 40th birthday. That whole thing kind of evolved from climbing a mountain to climbing Everest to setting a world record. It started with just leaning into something I liked because I didn't put limits on myself, and I just said, why not? Go climb Everest. If you don't summit, who cares?
Welcome to Dose of Wealth. I am beyond excited today to have a conversation with, I'm not going to say one of the most incredible humans that I've met. I think Jenn Drummond is the most incredible woman that I have met in my very long journey so far in life. Jenn, there's so many things that you have accomplished that before the episode, I'm like, wow, there's such a long list, but I would love for you to actually tell us, who is Jenn Drummond? I mean, you are a Guinness World Record. You have a wonderful family. You have 7 children, and there's so much more to you. Walk us through your early stage in life, please.
Yeah. Okay. So I like to consider myself a student of the world, and I am here for all the experiences and just to it's such an honor to be alive, right? After surviving a car accident, it really shifts your perspective and allows you to enjoy so much more of life because the alternative is not being here for it at all. I grew up in Michigan with a brother and a sister. I'm the oldest. We were always into sports and busy into a whole bunch of different activities because if I played sports, I didn't need to do homework, or I didn't have to do chores. So that was a better option for me. And yeah, life has just been one adventure after another.
Wow, that's I mean, you already started strong with your car accident. I mean, we can start there because I think that's so impressive. And as I said, you have had a long journey and a lot of things throughout your life, but you had an almost a near death experience, right? In 2018, you were in a very hard car accident, so severe that the rescue workers thought that you were not going to come out alive, right? So here you are, a few years later, you hold the Guinness World Record. I can't believe I keep saying that. And I'm like, I'm so proud that I know you. You are the first woman to have climbed the 7-second summit, which is even harder than Mount Everest, right? So my question is, what did you see in that moment between life and death that most people never get to see?
Yeah. Well, I hope they don't have to see it, right? Because those experiences are really, really scary. But for me, it was a wake-up call. I think the universe was nudging me before, and I just was not taking the messages. And so then it had to send the message as a car accident for me to actually be like, okay, I got it. I heard. And I'll tell you, the Jenn before the car accident was a people pleaser, was whatever I could do so that somebody else thought I was good, and I got all of my self-worth from other people's compliments. And when I was in that car accident, I realized I check out by myself. It's not like Izabela gets to stand there and be like, but she helped me here, or she was really nice, or she's a good human. Like, it was me and like God. And it was me saying, did I use my life like you intended? And it was this big wake up call of like, I don't think I'm here just to serve everybody else's mission. I'm here to also serve mine. And so then after that accident, I really started doing some work on myself and realized like I'm my biggest cheerleader, and I need to be, because this mission inside me, I'm the only one that knows it and can see it and can bring it to life. So I have to do that and my other activities.
Mm. So, in that moment when this accident happened, do you actually feel like it was almost like your prayer, your internal prayer that said, I need to change my life, and it just wasn't happening because of the habits that we create? What do you think led to that?
Yeah, I think part of it was I needed something that just shook me awake, right? That gave me this clear line in the sand. And unfortunately, I needed a car accident. Those of you that are listening, pick a birthday, pick Friday, pick today, pick whatever, and be like, this is the day that I'm going to change, and this is what I want to change. And every day I'm going to work towards that. And so for me, I realized like the chances of being born are like 1 in a trillion bazillion numbers, right? And so if that's the odds of even being here, there's a reason why I'm here. It is definitely to help others on their mission, but it's also to live out mine. And what is mine? Like, I didn't even know who I was at that point. And so I started getting curious about myself and allowed myself to figure myself out.
Hmm. So, but you were always, wow, what an incredible story. I mean, hopefully nobody gets to that point where they're actually nudged into an accident to change their life. But I feel like this is, this is very real. I actually had a friend recently, something similar happened to him, and I'm not gonna go into the full story, but he's been praying and meditating and, just wishing heavily to change his life, and he got hit by a car and almost died, and miraculously recovered, Jen. Miraculously, like you wouldn't think he was going to be alive, and now it's like just a scratch. And again, I had a similar conversation with him as to the point of, is it our wishes of change so deep in within us that somehow the universe or God or whatever you believe in will actually put you on that path? So it's interesting to hear from you. And that completely changed your life, right? And the course of your life. Is this when you started becoming even more into your fitness journey? Because I mean, it's not even fitness. I mean, mountain climbing and peaking summits, that's a whole nother level. Like, how do you go from like, okay, I'm almost dying, to like, let me do one of the hardest thing on this planet to do as the first one?
So here after the accident, I started to get curious about what I liked. Do I like yoga? Do I like Pilates? Do I like lifting? Do I like pickleball? Do I like hiking? Do I like running? Do I whatever, right? And so you just start doing these activities. Like, I really like being outdoors. And I really like the concept of climbing a mountain because I love the feeling of starting at the base, getting to the top, coming back down, and just having all that time to work through thoughts and to think things and to be off the grid. Like, it was very energizing and like helpful for who I was. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to climb a mountain for my 40th birthday and just launch that next decade. And when I was like, that whole thing kind of evolved from climbing a mountain to climbing Everest to setting a world record. And it's started with just leaning into something I liked. And then because I didn't put limits on myself and I just said, why not? Why not? Okay, go climb Everest. If you don't summit, who cares? Most people don't even try. Like, just get out there and try. And so for me, it was just this ability to be out in nature and explore the world and visit different continents and visit different people and have kind of a purpose that was driving all of it.
Did you feel like when you first did your first climb, did you feel like, oh my God, this is something I want to pursue for the rest of my life? Like, what was it? Was it the intensity, or what was it that really captured you?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of everything, right? It was you saw these views. They're like, I'm never going to see this view again. Like, I'm never coming to this country again. I'm never on this mountain again. I'm never whatever. And you start at the base of this mountain. You typically are climbing with people that don't speak your same language, that are not from your same walk of life, that are from different parts of the world, but you share this common goal. And so to collaborate with people that have the same goal, but you don't know them, like, it's just you become so close and so entwined and so connected to each other. And then you like suffer through these hard moments, and hopefully they have a hard moment at a different time than you do, because then you can help each other out of it. Or if you're both crying, you're like, you cry and you look at each other and then you giggle because you're like, we paid for this. And so you could sit in that misery together, which helps it dissipate faster. But it's like addiction of like doing something hard, getting the endorphins from it, having other people around you that are trying to do the same thing. So you're feeding off of each other's energy and you're in the most beautiful places on this planet. Like the views are unbelievable. The sky at night are these stars that shine so bright you swear they're lights or planets or something. And you come home and all of a sudden you have Zoom calls and you have carpool and you're getting French fry out of like a car seat, right? Like you're just like, it's just, it gives you some balance and perspective on, okay, this is just a season. Like let's make it all work.
You must have met some incredible people on these journeys too. Like, who are these people that do something so hard? Like, I would love to like know who are they? Like, what are they into, and how do you all come together? Because you're all from different walks of life, I assume, right?
Yeah, like I think it all starts with I want to climb a mountain. And I would say more often than not, the external mountain represents the internal mountain. So
Mm,
we all have something that we're climbing, right? Like maybe it's self-esteem, maybe it's bravery, maybe it's like losing weight or building a company or starting a family. Like when you're in nature, you get to really connect to yourself because you don't have all the stimulation coming in from other sources. And it gets really clear on what you want outside of your environment. And I think that feeling of clarity, that feeling of purpose, that feeling of like accomplishing something on the mountain reflects internally as much as it does externally. And it's addicting.
mm. It's like a good addiction to have.
Yes.
You have seven children, and I know. Give me a little bit of the background with how you chose some of the summits that you climbed, and how your children were involved in that. Because I'm sure everybody's wondering, like, there's this awesome woman, but she has seven children at home. How are they okay with this? Give us a little bit of background into that.
Yeah. So I had kids when I started having children. Where I grew up, you wanted to be a stay at home mom. Like that was the dream. And so obviously I was going to put myself in a position to be that stay at home mom. So I hired myself out of my company as the tasks at home got more demanding, the tasks at work got less. And then eventually I completely hired myself out of a job and I was fully immersed in the kids. And I was running Sunday school, doing soccer practice, doing all the different things to the point where I didn't really have any time left for me. And I just remember thinking, okay, when I get through this stage, then I'll get back to me.
Mhm.
And the car accident happened. And I was like, wow, that's a really bad example to set for my kids. Like when you're a parent, your life stops and you don't get your life back till your kids graduate. I'm like, I don't want that story. I want the story of when you're a parent, you have this responsibility to make the most of your life because you're demonstrating what's possible to your children. And if they don't learn from you, they're going to learn from some TikTok star or some YouTuber. So you better figure out how to love your life, because if you're happy and in love with your life, they're wondering like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Like, how do I get that? And what does that look like for me? And so, yes, seven kids. I actually struggled with fertility issues. And so I had to go to a fertility doctor. Nothing worked for a while. And then the chemical cocktail came about, and I got a bunch of embryos, and I viewed embryos as life. So those 14 embryos became seven children, which is a lot, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
Wow, what a beautiful story, and an abundance of children.
Abundance of children.
And
Yes.
I was lucky enough to meet one of your daughters, and I can just tell, just being next to her, like she's so proud to have you as a mom, and I could just feel that energy and the connection. It's like she has the freedom, and I'm sure it's the same for the rest of your children, where it's like they have the freedom to go after what they want, because here's their mom who is, by the way, for those who can't see Jen, she's so tiny and she's so mighty, but you are just a force, but also so kind, and you're so loving, and your heart is so big. So I can't imagine them, like having any kind of hesitation on your journey as far as like where you're going, because now they get to learn from you.
Yeah. And I was very like, I was very focused on making sure they were involved, right? So when I decided to take on the 7 second summit quest and go to 7 continents to climb 7 different mountains, like I talked to them about it. I said, like, here's what I'm thinking of doing. And they were on page. They were like, yeah, I want to know what Africa's like, or I want to know what South America's like, or I like, this sounds really, really cool. And so then they each claimed a mountain, and then we kind of studied that area and that culture, and everybody had a mountain that they were responsible for, and we would share stories about what we thought it was, and I'd come back and be like, this is what it was actually like, and I've taken them on hikes before, so it became a really cool through thread for our family.
Do you think any of them are gonna follow in your footsteps? I know it's probably early to tell, but do you feel like any of them have this inclination of like, oh my God, mom did this and I want to go do that too?
Well, I'll tell you, like 3 of them came home from summer camp, and all of a sudden they're like, "Mom, I won the speed climbing contest." I'm like, "You were rock climbing?" They're like, "Yeah, like we want to do it more." So they've been home for less than a week, and we've been to the climbing gym a couple times. So I'm like, "Okay, I guess this is in your blood."
Oh my God, this makes me so happy to hear because, of course, you want your children to kind of be into what you're into, but it doesn't always pan out like that. But it's important to at least for them to see mom is into health because it's so important right now with everything, like you just mentioned. I'd rather my kids do something that's health conscious than sit in front of a TikTok and learn from some person that doesn't have their best interest at heart. That's what a great mom you are. Just have to commend you on that. I love that.
Thank you.
Let's move a little bit on to business. You've built an incredible business, and while you were also climbing probably the most dangerous peaks in the world, and most entrepreneurs, myself included, we say we don't have time for everything. We don't have time for health. We don't have time for climbing mountains and also raising children. And how do you work with time, and how does time work for you? How do you see this? Because you must have some kind of structure or habits that the rest of us don't have. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you do at first feel like it's falling apart because it is. It's falling apart with how you did it or how you viewed it before. Doesn't mean that it's broken or it's going to break or not perform. It's just you're letting go of what it looked like to allow it to look like something else. And if you're doing that, I'm letting you know it's uncomfortable and it's hard. Okay. So I don't want to say it's easy. But here's what happens. And I learned this from an Olympic athlete that I met a while back. She was training for the Olympics, got a gold medal, and at the same time, she was getting her business degree at her MBA. And I'm like, isn't that like two extremes? How do you do those two things? She's like, well, here's the deal. You can only train so many hours a day before your body starts to break down. And if I had a bad training session, I could at least have a good like school session. And if I had a good school session and a good training session, like fabulous, but I needed something else to balance me out. So all of the skiing wasn't so important that it was the only thing that I would win in. And so for me, I'm like, oh, that's a really good point. Where are you winning? And what are you measuring? And so let's say you put a lot of work in at work, and sometimes work takes a long time to see the fruits of our labor. And so what can I intersect with that gives me some short-term wins, that keeps the momentum going and my life in total?
Mm.
Right? Because I was like before the car accident, I was like 18-hour days, 12-hour days, weekends, all the time. And it felt safe because I saw the numbers that it produced. And then the only reason why I stopped working so much is because I had a child. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to be home with him. And so then I started to let things go at work because I wanted the time to be with him. And I kept thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, I was so lying to myself that I had to do these things that I did before, because look at how well the company's doing now that I let those things go. And so once you have one experience that you can fall back on and be like, hey, this worked. You keep that story on speed dial and you use it for all other scenarios to give yourself permission to be able to build it a different way than what you built to get to where you are.
Yeah, it's very hard to let go of control, right? Because you build something it takes so much of your time, and you see it like, oh my God, and now it's starting to come alive, and then you're like, okay, I need to step back. Like that must have been tough, right?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. But then here's what happens. All of a sudden, you're like at home with the baby and a paycheck comes in and you're like, I made money and I didn't even have to, I fed a baby today. Like, what? And you start getting addicted to that. And you're like, okay, well, that's where leadership steps in because now all of a sudden you're training all the people that are working for you so that they get to be the best versions of themselves, which allows you to focus on them instead of everything else because they do the details.
So you don't miss being like in the grind of it all, in the like the stress, the all of it. Like how is this world different? I mean, I know you have your book and I like to talk to you about that and you have your podcast, but so you're still very much involved, but as far as that part of your life, do you like miss it? Do you crave it?
I do like I miss it, but I'm not the same person anymore. Right? So doing it now isn't doing it like I was doing it before. And let me tell you, like when you start doing the outreach again, like, oh gosh, I'm so grateful I'm able to hire that piece out. Or there's like things that you're just like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do that section of it anymore. But it's very much that's the beauty of success is that you get to start streamlining your life and say, what do I like? And how do I add more of that? And what do I not like? And how do I remove more of that so that I can keep the flywheel on joy?
Yeah. Do you think some of that talent and skill comes from also having a bigger household where, you're able to give some of these tasks to like your children, right? Because you're not going to do everything for seven kids. Do you think that helped a little bit?
Oh yeah, like delegation, you have to delegate to run a family of 7. Like there's just no way you can do it all because otherwise your kids' memories of you are going to be you doing laundry, you being grouchy and you cleaning the kitchen. And I'm like, I don't want that to be our story at all. And so I was very much I started looking at everything from what do I want my kids to remember?
Mm,
I want my kids to remember story time or bath time or going to get a milkshake after soccer practice or like hanging out together.
mm,
So if I really want to protect that time, guess what? All these other tasks like grocery shopping and laundry and filling the cars up with gasoline, those aren't on my plate. Because if I have an hour, I have to pick what I'm doing with that hour. And my kids, like, they always want to drive mom's car. Okay, if you want to drive mom's car, you got to go fill it up with gas today, and then you can take it with your friends for one night, right? Like, you do that kind of stuff.
so you slowly introduce like different tasks to them and almost make it fun and make it like they're part of like this journey together as a family. I mean, these are questions that I am curious about because I have a 9-year-old and because I only have one, I do tend to maybe take those tasks myself instead of giving in to him and try to like protect him and coddle him and
No, like even like you have to learn what to let go of. So for me, for example, I love having a clean house. Like I do. I pride it gives me my brain relaxes, I feel good, all those things. Well, when you have 7 children and you want them to do their laundry, you don't have a clean house. So thank goodness all my kids' bedrooms are upstairs and we put an extra laundry room upstairs. And so anytime I walk upstairs, it's like I'm in a war zone. I don't even know how they know what's clean. Maybe there's a clean pile and a dirty pile and then a medium pile. I have no idea. It is so bad, but I'm like, that's not mine.
mm.
My floor's clean, my laundry's done, I'm good. This is what I want for them, but they're responsible for that for themselves. And so I'd rather have them have the responsibility than me take the responsibility on and have a clean house.
And I love that you mentioned in the beginning that your kids go to camp, and those camps we talked about, and they're away from home. Do you feel that that helps them a lot into becoming young adults and who they're supposed to become in life? And how did you deal with this? I mean, the thought of my kid being away from me for a month, I'm like, oh my God, Jen, what am I gonna do?
Oh my gosh, no. It's like, so the first few days, you're like, yeah. And then after the first few days, you're like, oh my gosh, I miss them more than they miss me. But so my kids go to camp for a month. And the reason why they do that is so that they get around different people for a month and they get to recreate their identity without me reinforcing who they were. Right. So I feel like it gives them a chance to be in a new environment and explore parts of themselves where the environment doesn't really know them. So they get to recreate. And the first year of camp, everybody hated it. I hated it. They hated it. All the things. I'm like, I can't believe I just paid this much money for all of us to be grouchy. And then the next year, I'm like, I think they just need a break from their friends here. And the best way for them to get a break from their friends here is to go do a camp again and like whatever. And then the second year, it was okay, right? And then the third year, which is where we are right now, my kids like cannot wait to go back to camp. They love their friends. They love these things. They share different ideas that they learn from different people in different parts of the country. Like all of a sudden, my one daughter likes a certain music. My other one found a new lipstick she likes, like all the things, right? And it's just fun for them to have friends in different places because I'm a speaker. So I go on stages and I travel. And I actually was in Denver not too long ago, and my daughter came with me because one of her friends from camp lived in Denver. I'm like, okay, come, and you're going to go visit her. And yeah, I think it's hard, but it's so good for them.
It's so good for them. That's what an incredible family dynamic you have with your children. I mean, that's so impressive. On top of everything else, let's talk about breakproof. You talk about 7 strategies for resilience, but I would love to know, what first of all, what created this idea for this book, and what was that moment that you actually broke, like when Jen shattered that, and how did you rebuild yourself into this person that's literally unbreakable right now? I mean, you're a force.
Yeah. So the Breakproof book came about because I'm on these climbs, I'm doing these things, and I'm like, it's so funny how much this climb resembles building a business and how many metaphors are the same. And everybody kept asking me like questions about the climb or questions about this, questions about that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down so that if it's just easier. So then you write it down and you put it on some blog post and some people read it, and then enough people read it. And somebody said, you should turn this into a book. I'm like, okay, sure. Let's turn this into a book. And so really the fun thing about writing the book is that it holds yourself accountable, and it also allows you to look at your journey and be like, what are the through threads? Like, what is it that I did that allowed me to get to where I went? And what does resilience look like? And the reason why it's called breakproof is because we all break. Okay. So I'm not saying you're not going to break. I'm just saying the break is the proof. What's working, what's not working, what do you need to change? What do you know now? How do you continue to climb? And I break it down into 7 like core principles that help you get to the top of your mountain. And one of my favorite ones is big mountains take big teams.
Mhm.
Right? So we think we're going to set this huge Everest like goal and we're going to go at it alone. You're not going to get to the top if you go at it alone. Like you might, but you're going to miss having friendships along the way or like all these other things that come with it. So if you're building a big thing or you have this big vision, it is so much more fun and so much more enjoyable and so much more rewarding when you do it with others. And so if you're struggling or you're doing something hard, ask yourself, do I have enough people to help me climb this mountain?
Wow. And you obviously are doing a good job at that, because I've seen you speak on stages. And um, how is this book contributing to your life? Besides, because you mentioned, it feels good to just write the book, right? But where has this book taken you in life? What do you recommend to those who are possibly thinking about writing a book, right? Because right now with ChatGPT and AI world, like, what does that still feel like when you put pen to paper yourself? Because you wrote this before AI
Before,
was
right.
even a thing.
Yeah, totally before chat was a thing. And for me, it was very much therapeutic, right? You start writing your stories down and you start getting to see them and like look at them from a different perspective. My grandpa passed away recently. My grandma passed away this year, and my grandpa before he passed, he wrote down a whole bunch of stories. And I'm so grateful he wrote down those stories because it just reminds me of like where I came from and things have changed and who he is at his core values and who am I at my core values. And if nothing else, it just allows you to see yourself on paper. Some people write books and they never publish them. They write them just to go through the process of it. Obviously, nowadays, some people write books just to write a book. And so they use AI to do that. And that's an entirely different experience. So for me, it was very much processing the climbs and then allowing me not to forget some of the details that are so easy to forget.
Mm. Or do you think in your next book we might see some of your grandfather's learnings and wisdom words? And do you have one link in the future, you think?
I am working on a book right now. I'm leaning towards the title of Super Much. And it's kind of coming out of this thought of my daughter came home from school and she was being bullied. And she's like, Mom, they're telling me I'm too much. I'm like, you are. You're super much though. Like that's your superpower. Whatever doesn't fit in the box, that's too much for somebody else. That's your magic. Like, so let's turn that instead of a negative into a positive and lean into that. And I can remember like how many times in my life, like I felt like I was too much. And so the book is very much about like owning your too muchness and like celebrating that part of you that makes you unique and special and encouraging others to do the same.
Wow, I love that name. I hope you are trademarking it and patenting it and all the business terms you want to do with that. It's incredible because we are, especially as as women, like we are being told like sometimes we're too much or too emotional, and the fact that you told her like it's a superpower being super much. Like, first of all, what a great name. I look forward to really reading that. Are you taking the time right now? Like, is there a structure around that? Like, do you write every day? Do you write every week? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. I'm really right now in the collection phase of stories, and I'm collecting it from other women and asking the question, like, have you ever felt like you're too much? And how did you navigate that? And what helped you? And what would you tell your younger self now that you're in this position that you're in? And it's interesting how it's so much the same journey for all of us. But I just love hearing other people's stories. So I've been asking a lot about that lately. I've been putting it into like sections of one, identifying, and then two, what's the action that you take, and then what's the result. And so just always trying to give the here's what you notice, here's what you do, here's what you get.
Mhm. I love that. I mean, what a great way to even structure around your book, right? Because you get to meet all these people on your journey. You get to have the experience from your children. You get to speak on stages and hear others. I cannot wait until that book comes out because I will definitely be the first one to buy it. So
Woo!
you started your journey into mountaineering and so much more at a very young age. I mean, you're still super young. You started at 40. You're just a few years in. Um, what do you say to those who think that they're too late to start something new? Whether it's a business, whether it's something as courageous as what you started, what would you say to those people?
Man, I would say just do it because here's the thing, like you're only going to get older and it's only going to get harder, and you have to ask yourself, like, if I was to die, do I want to at least say I tried? Do I at least want to have this experience on my resume, or do I want it like as a thought only? And for me, like, I know it sounds morbid, but I always compare everything to like, if I died, would it matter as much that I tried or that I never even tapped the thing that kind of made me curious? And so for if there's an idea in your head, like I want to start a business or I want to climb a mountain or I want to do the thing, that idea is there for a reason. Like sit with it, explore it, like test it, try it, do whatever. Because at the end of the day, we all leave and whatever our story is, it's done.
Yeah. Do you think without that accident you would have had this viewpoint in life?
No, I think I was so worried about my brand. And my brand was Jenn Drummond, who like got things done and was successful. And so as I got more successful, I started getting afraid to try other things because what happens if they weren't successful? And oh my gosh, what would that look like? And what would people think? And blah, 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 blah. And that accident allowed me to realize like, who cares what they think? Who cares if it didn't work? Like you only know by being in the arena. Like you don't know unless you're trying it and doing it. And you learn so much about yourself that it actually becomes really fun.
Yeah. But I don't feel like did you feel like that right after the accident, or did it take you a few years to actually process it and be like, oh my God, I went through this really traumatic thing. I should now change my life around. Or was it pretty immediate?
Well, so when you're in a car accident like I was in, where I collided with a semi truck, like I went to go get a new car. And when I went to go get a new car, like I took an Uber down to the dealership because I didn't have a car. And I bought a car and like went to leave the dealership and I was scared out of my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to drive this thing home on a highway. I don't want to get in a car. I don't want to drive. Like, no way. And I sat with myself and I was like having negotiations or whatever else. I'm like, you know what? If I don't do it now, it's only going to get harder. So I pulled out onto that road. I was sweating. I was like crying. I was freaking out. I'm like, just keep driving, just keep driving, keep driving. When I got on the highway, I would move to the farthest lane over. Anytime a semi truck would get near me, my heart would race. I'm like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I got home. It's like a 45-minute drive. I went to bed. Like I was so physically exhausted from this experience. And it literally took me like 9 months to drive on the road. I remember taking my mom to the airport and I got there. I was like, I didn't freak out. Like for 1 second during this entire experience, I didn't freak out. Oh my gosh, like I'm okay. Like I didn't know if this day would ever come and here it is. And it's there because for 9 months, I allowed it to be uncomfortable and frustrating and scary and like sweaty and gross. And now I'm past it.
Wow.
And I think that like experience in and of itself has allowed me to remember like everything's this temporary moment. And so if it's painful now in 5 minutes, it's not going to be painful. In 2 hours, it might not be painful. Maybe in 3 months, it won't be painful. But at some point, that story is going to get old and it's going to be replaced with something new.
You gave me goosebumps. So is this something you just kind of trained your mindset? Because, somebody hearing this, they're like, oh yeah, it's easy for her because, it's just, she's just different than me, right? Our first immediate thought is like, yeah, she did it, but I don't think that would be me. What do you say to those? Like, how does somebody even start to train their mind to go against everything they believe and every fiber in their being say, no, stay home, you might die again if you drive this car?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's easy for you to say, oh, she's different. Right. And anytime that shows up, I'm like, come on, we don't take the easy way. Like that's like if anybody can say that and stay stuck. Where the win comes is if I can overcome that. And so guess what? Like this is crazy, but I would drive down the road with black t-shirts only because anything else you would see pit stains because I would sweat so much because I was so afraid. And so for like 9 months of my life, like I only wore black and I only wore black because I'm like, this is what my body does. And hopefully someday it changes. But right now this is what it is. And I'd rather wear black than be embarrassed in a blue shirt. And you have to you have to adapt and you have to be like, here's where I'm at. It's not where I'm going to stay. And I trust that if I put one foot in front of the other, the story's going to shift. Not today, but someday.
And every day is gonna be a challenge. It's not like you're just going from here to perfect. You're going to have all these difficulties, and it's just important to keep on going, right? Because it's about the challenges. I mean, I look at my life and where I came from, and when people ask me like, how do you overcome it, it's not that we're superhumans. You literally just wake up and you do it again. And like you said, just black shirts, if that's what that means, to wear that for the rest of the year, you have a little toolbox that you have this little tools. In your case, black shirt, do this. You just get to that routine and you push through because these are the moments that matter, right? That's what took
Yeah.
you to the next one, from wet shirts in the car to how do I climb a mountain to how do I write a book to how do I write 10 to how do I get on the biggest stages. And it's just really one foot after another, right? It sounds like.
It is. And it's like living through it and being like, I survived. We're good. And it really wasn't that bad. And then you like start having fun with it. Right. And you can make it silly. Okay. Like I got in a car crash in a car and it's like, okay, well, I'm not ever going to drive a blue car again. I'm only good like that. It was a blue car. Don't buy a blue car. Make it funny. And then you're like, okay, well, I bought a black one now. So now I'm safe. And there we go. Like you have to look at yourself and be like, being human is hilarious when we allow it to be. And just put yourself in a position to win.
and make your own rules. And like you said in the beginning of the interview, it's such a rare opportunity to even be alive, to even be in this planet, right? Like how many generations have to have come together for you to even be born, and for us to waste this time and not take the opportunity to go after what we want is it's going to only hurt us at the end of our life when we look back and see that we didn't go for the things that we wanted to get to. Um, so right now, when you're not a record holder, when you strip away all of these amazing things, achievements, like who are you behind all of that? Like who is that little Jen, and what does she love? Who are you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to know? I drink hot chocolate like it's going out of style. I love Fruity Pebbles cereal. I will be in a messy bun and exercise clothes 24/7 if it's an option. I'm outdoors as much as possible. Like, and that's just me in a nutshell. Can I be like just grungy, me outdoors, little bit of sugar, call it good.
Yeah, I love that. It just to show you that, we're all humans behind all of the, identities and the costumes, I like to call them, that we wear. Like one day we're wearing the entrepreneur, and one day we're wearing the, the speaker, and the mother, and the wife, the girlfriend, the whatever. And then it's just our soul is just so pure under all of that, and you get to embody whoever you want to embody, right? And that's another part of like that's super super fun and super awesome. So I love hearing that. We talked about getting closer to, like, getting to the old age, right? Let's say you're, I don't know, 120, right? Because now with peptides and everything that we have there, hopefully we will live longer than 100. But you're 120 and you're looking back at your life. Like, what do you think will matter more? Or what would you put as your top achievements, beside just, climbing the 7 second summit? Or what are you grateful for at the end of your life?
Grateful for all of it, right? Like, I think before the accident, I always leaned towards what was right or what was good. And then after the accident, I remember coming home and watching my kids fight. And I was like, I'm just so glad they're fighting. I'm so glad that they care so much about whatever they're talking about that they're mad that their sibling won't feel the same way. And so they're fighting to try to convince them of their viewpoint. And it like took away bad, and it took away wrong, and it took away negative, right? And it just allowed you to be, man, this gift of life is pretty magical.
Mm,
And I would say the biggest thing that I hope to leave behind is the power of kindness, and not just to each other, but to ourselves. Because I was so hard on myself and so picky with myself and so frustrated with myself all the time. And I look back on that, I'm like, man, what I would do for that body that was the 20, you look back, you're like, I was freaking great. Why did I enjoy that while I had it? And I don't want to keep saying that. So like I really flipped into this phase of enjoying it now, knowing that in 20 years from now, I'm going to miss things that are easy. And in 20 years from that, there's going to be that story again. And so how do I be kind to myself during this journey of learning more about me, learning ways I can contribute, learning things about other people and how I can help them? And I think when we just start with that kindness for ourselves and others, like so many doors open.
right. Kindness, gratitude. Um,
Yeah.
it's literally the magic of life, I like to call it. And it's once you are open hearted like that, it's almost impossible that life won't give you all these great things. And I love that you have this perspective, especially after you almost died. I mean, I can't say that enough. And because you don't come across this many people that have had this experience and changed their life so drastically, and with that you're helping so many other people. I mean, I know your book is amazing and many people have read it. Tell us a little bit where people can find your work, and how do people get in touch with you if they want to tell you how amazing you are. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have a website, jendrummond.com. So please check me out there. My favorite platform is actually LinkedIn. So I'm one of those nerds, but I'm on all the platforms. And for all of you guys listening today, If you text the word Everest to the number 33777, so Everest to 33777, you will get a video of the Milky Way galaxy going over Everest Base Camp. And I keep this video on my phone. It's available for you for free, and it will allow you to just like look at that video anytime life gets hard or overwhelming or frustrating. And for me, it just reminds me like, we're these little teeny tiny people on this magical planet. Like, I'm okay. Let's keep going. And that's been like a huge tool in my toolkit that I want to share for yours.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to get it myself. Jen, you are incredible. I am sending you so much love. I see you as my sister. I'm so
Yes.
glad you're in my life, and I'm just so excited to watch your journey from here on out and see how many lives you're going to change. Thank you so much for coming on Dose of Wealth. I'm sending you so many hugs.
Thank you.